Hello, 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 and welcome back to the Drag Race RHAPup here on reality TV RHAPups. I'm your host, Liana Boraas, and we are going to talk about the essentially penultimate episode for episode 14, right, of season 14. I can't believe we're here. 5 queens going into the finale, which is really this has been a season of firsts, and this episode is no different. So let's get into everything with our wonderful panel who is here today. First, let me introduce the wonderful Aman Adwin. Aman, how are you?
Pissed.
Oh!
Did
But
not
you know what?
that.
I am gonna hold off. Okay, but
Okay.
otherwise I'm great. Glad to be back. Yada yada yada. Pleasantry. Let's go.
Let's move on. Yeah. All right. Okay. Then let's get Beth in here. Beth, how are you doing?
Complacent. No. No, I'm fine. I think that this was a very interesting episode. I can't wait to break it all down. There's elements that were new about it that I think is going to be interesting to talk about. I just feel like this whole season is like Survivor 41. Drop the 4, keep the 1. It's a whole new kind of series of Drag Race. So interested to see, what the finale holds.
Yeah. All right. So let's where are we at? All right. So we had Lady Camden win our challenge. We had Angeria and Willow in the bottom 2 with the telephone lip sync that we had sort of been discussing throughout the season.
Oh,
but
Aman's face says it all.
Let me just set the framework, and then I just want to give space to Aman because I feel like it's absolutely necessary right now. Both of those queens will be moving on, and we have a top 5. Next week is the reunion, and episode after that will be the finale. So just as a programming note for everybody, we will not be recording a podcast for the reunion. Instead, we'll be covering both the reunion and the finale together in 2 weeks' time, usually just based on the amount of content. There's not really enough to warrant a podcast for the reunion. And the finale also usually has a lot of fluff, although with 5 queens, who knows? So we'll be covering those 2 together. Okay, Aman, go.
I remember being late to school on the morning of the release of the music video Telephone, featuring 2 of the biggest pop acts of my lifetime, Beyonce Giselle Knowles Carter and Lady Gaga. Okay? I remember missing the bus because I could not wait to watch this mammoth of a pop music moment. I could not wait. After witnessing Lady Gaga's meteoric rise to stardom. Okay? So let's just start there. That song, that album to me is like me really coming out to my gay ass self. Okay? Like that was just such a moment for me when my parents talk about the great heights of all of their favorite pop, like the great heights of Michael Jackson and all of these big, powerful love ballads of like the Celine Dion's and the Madonnas of the world. That to me was my generation's version of that. Okay? And we know the story when it comes to Gaga or when it comes to Beyonce and Drag Race, right? We've been getting lots of Beyonce in the past couple of seasons. It's kind of crazy. And this song, this mammoth of a song, this anthem of a song has yet to be on Drag Race in the 14 years of existence of this show and the 12-ish years in the existence of this song. So for as long as this song has been alive, it has not been on Drag Race until Friday night.
And how did you feel?
What did we get for a lip sync to Telephone? We got 2 queens stumbling around in a fucking Minnie Mouse costume, these big ass skirts and these high ass heels that aren't dancers, doing like kiss emotions to one another, and it's all lovely and ha-ha and hee-hee because they're friends and they don't want to see each other go home, and it's like a whole narrative of the season, but you know good and damn well that no one's gonna go home anyway because they've been saving queens left and right like it's like freaking like commercials for Save a Queen. It's just ridiculous. That was the worst lip sync for a song that I have seen. And I know that I am being dramatic, and I know that there's probably more worse lip syncs, but right now, that's what I have in my heart right now. Because Telephone did not deserve that treatment. They could barely move in the dresses, and they weren't even great dancers. Angeria, love her to bits, but she's not a great dancer. She's just not. And Willow, love her to bits, but what? Who decided that this was going to be the thing? And I know that this was like part of their plan because you got one black queen to be Beyonce, you got one white queen to be Lady Gaga, and you put those two in the bottom in this week to be the front runner gag of the season. Like, oh my God, one of them's going to go. No one's going to go home. So not only did you waste the song on queens that don't even know what to do with it, but you wasted the epicness of a double chante on a season where it's already happened 4 times. I am so livid with every single one of these producers, okay? And RuPaul, this is like, you have done a lot of egregious shit in your career, but this by far is the worst thing that you could have done. You need to issue an apology to both Beyonce and Lady Gaga and all of their children. Lady Gaga doesn't have any kids yet, but when she does, you need to be at that hospital with an apology to their mother. It's just ridiculous.
All right, and that's our podcast. Thank you, everyone, for checking it out. Yeah, we'll be back in 2 weeks' time for the reunion. Look, Aman, I get it. I get it. I feel the passion. I love the passion. You love to see it. This is a season, because I was talking about this yesterday with Mike Bloom. We are at episode 14. 7 of the episodes have been essentially non-eliminations. If you include the first 2 weeks where a queen was technically sent home, but wasn't actually sent home. That's half. That's half the episodes. What other reality TV show do half the episodes no one is eliminated? It's just shocking.
And the one real gag of an elimination wasn't even an elimination. It was a medical evacuation.
Honestly, yeah, that's true.
She eliminated herself. RuPaul didn't even eliminate her.
The most surprising elimination was Cornbread being medevaced. Like, yeah, that is true.
Oh man,
we
are truly speechless, and as podcasters, that's not a good thing.
I know that not everybody will take this as seriously as I do. I get it. Not people are like, it's just Telephone. I know that there's that demographic of people out here, but I just need you to understand the gravity of this sin. Okay, I just need you to understand what Telephone is. Okay, we are still waiting on a sequel for that. Okay, because they promised it and it never came. Okay, we are still, by the grace of God, hoping that one of these albums that either Beyonce or Lady Gaga releases before they are truly out of their prime, we are hoping that there is some sort of continuation to this, because that's how gag-worthy of a moment in pop culture that was, that we don't really get anymore in pop culture. Mm-hmm. The Will Smith slap is the biggest pop culture moment that we have had in such a long time. Okay? And that is sad.
I do have to take a moment here to say, did you all see the the pit stop with Monet and Bob this week?
Yes, I did see that, yeah.
Oh no.
Monet goes, so what did you think about Willow Smith being in the bottom? To Bob, and Bob goes, get my daughter's name out your fucking mouth. And she goes, wait, what? And she didn't know that she said Willow Smith. It was a great moment. So just the marrying of the two. I have to say, I watched this lip sync, and the moment it started, and I didn't even get the full doom 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 doom. I was like, oh, this isn't going to be good. And then, no, seriously, because I was like, oh no, they're going to mess up how they cut this song. That's not going to be good. And then I started realizing how, in comparison to the rest of the queens there, we had two not so great lip syncers to a song like this. And the first thought that came to my head was, oh no, I hope the bar that Aman is at has an AED for his heart, because this is not going to work out very well. So yeah, no, I agree with you, Aman. I will not say that I missed the bus when the song came out, because first of all, I think I was graduated from college, and that really scares me. But I do remember this song. It was huge. It was epic when it came out. It really was changing for so many people, like life changing. It's a great song, and they even say it. Bosco even says it. This is a life changing. This is the gay anthem of the early 2010s, like, or 2010 maybe itself. I don't remember, but like, my goodness.
And
it was so underwhelming.
The combination of the music video too, right? Like, it's not just the sound, it's the visuals, right? And so when you're going to have something that is so visually distinct, like I immediately, even someone just says the name of the song Telephone, I immediately think of that yellow, that red, that blue, those colors just like immediately pop into your head because the video itself was so iconic. So, yeah. Look, I don't know what I expected when you do it. You have this song where it's best drag is the category, and 99.9% of the time they're wearing gowns. Like, you know that the queens are going to be wearing gowns for this. You don't allow them to change because this is an all-stars. So you know that they're going to be in gowns. I think Angeria actually was especially hampered by this with that mermaid cut. She can't move. She can't move her legs. And then, Willow being the rat / mouse, depending on who you ask.
But also was holding her dress the entire time. Like, literally, the moment she bunched it up in her arms, I went, oh no. Oh no, no, no. This is like, now it just looks like a mouse hoarding shit. Like, this isn't, that's not what Telephone is.
And you're going to save them anyway. Yeah, go ahead, Aman.
It's not their fault. Like, I don't want people to think that I'm ragging on them. Like, I love Angeria and I love Willow Pill. They're great. They're great. They're great. It's just production. Why would you do this? I just don't get it. Why did you save this for them? I just don't understand that choice.
This would have been a perfect lip sync last week when you had actual, like, Georges was there, and like, apparently the other lip sync assassin Deja was lip syncing, and Daya. Like, I would have been fine with 3 people with that song, because it's like there's so much that you could film with it. But at the same time, I'm like, why didn't you put that as one of the, like, Lollapalooza things? Like, or why didn't you save it for the finale? You're incredibly correct here, Liana. It's so weird to have them wait for a moment where most people are going to be in gowns, which is why I would like to institute, if I am ever, and I should never be, but if I'm ever elected Drag Race president, this is my platform. I promise you, the final lip sync in the penultimate episode will always be a soul-bearing emotional ballad where nobody has to move, but they need to emote to know the words. That's where I'm at.
Oh,
and like, I had heard T that this was going to be a song on the season, and I kind of like completely forgotten about it until Friday night. I was like, oh, maybe it'll be. I was thinking, oh, maybe it'll be like in the finale, like it'll be like one of the finale head to heads, because that's like such an epic song. And then, like you said, Beth, when those harps started playing, I was like, you have got to be shitting me. You've got to be shitting me. And I gave it a chance. I was like, maybe they will rip those skirts off. Maybe this will be like some sort of like, but it never went anywhere. It took off and it landed immediately. Just like, all right, I'm done ranting. I'm done.
If you know you're gonna save everybody, put like the 2 best lip syncers in there. Throw the 2 people who did the best in there. Just put Lady Camden, put Daya Betty in there, because you know, like, you're gonna save them anyway.
It was amazing to me that this suit. I mean, I called this last week too. Last week I said, if the bottom 2 is Angeria and Willow, then we know that it's like a double chante. Like, the only way I could see someone going home was if it, like, honestly, I felt like Bosco or Daya would have been the two that RuPaul might have sent home at this point. I really don't, unless one of them like royally messed up. And I don't think anybody royally messed up this week.
Right.
So I don't know. I called it. I was like, there's no way. I said, if Willow Pill does worse in the lip sync, they're not going home. We knew this.
Yeah.
Like, so to your point, Liana, just have the top two lip sync. I would have loved to have seen Lady Camden do this song. That would have been great.
Right? That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I you know, also the big note here is we're going to a final 5. I remember going from a final 3 to a final 4 with season
Peppermint.
9. Yeah, with Peppermint. That made sense because that was the season with the lip sync, like the first lip sync SmackDown. So it kind of made sense that it was like, oh, okay, I get why you're going to, you have to have a top 4 inherently. And like all 4 of those queens, I felt like really you could justifiably see them all there. I don't know what a final 5 looks like, right? Because you can't really do the SmackDown unless you're doing a 1 round of 3, which is like blatantly unfair because you. So like what?
So it's going to be interesting. I was actually thinking about this. I was like, so the show started off with having a final 2, and then in season 4 switched to a final 3, and then in season 9 switched to a final 4. And so I'm doing the math, and I'm like, okay, so it was 3, and then it was 5. And then it was another 5. So I guess in season 19, we're going to have a final 6 is where I'm doing the drag math. Hashtag drag math.
No, the whole cast is going to make it to the finale, okay? The whole, who do you want to win? Text, it'll last like a whole 15 minutes.
Could you imagine from the very first episode, who do you want to take home the crown? Text such as that for the next 30 weeks.
It's a point-based system.
You know what? I actually wouldn't be mad at, especially with All Stars, with like a point-based system where people come and they show up. Because I think
this fandom is really toxic. I don't know.
Oh, that's exactly why I want it. Is because if you're going to come back for All Stars, first of all, you already know how toxic the fan base is going to be. Secondly, the point-based system would like completely get rid of this whole lip sync for your life thing, but you better believe it would create so much more drama behind the scenes if they all have to either give each other points that they like vote upon based off of placement or top, bottom, whatever, blah, 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 blah. Oh God, I think that could create so much fun drama, so much more fun of a game. And at the same time, queens aren't going home maybe until a certain point. And so you get to see more of those queens coming out and showing off like what they've learned and how they've grown and all those different kinds of things. But I don't think they should do it for normal seasons. I think for All Stars.
Well, as far as we know, no points were given throughout this season, only chocolate bars. So that sort of leaves us going into the finale with, you know, do we know if it's going to be live? Or you know, live, like recorded or
like live to tape.
Yeah, which I assume it will be. That's what they did last year. So I assume that things are okay enough now that they would also feel comfortable doing that. So
I think they recorded the reunion this past weekend or next weekend, I think is what they're doing. And then the following week is the finale. Or a few days later, whatever it is. Or maybe it's the other way around.
Yeah.
I feel like recently they've been recording the finale and then doing the reunion, which is why it's interesting. Like that's why in season 9, Shay was just so like didn't give a shit anymore. And I was happy for it. But a lot of that had to do with like she had just lost the night before. And so there's a lot of
that.
I don't know. And at the very least, then make the reunion the last episode. Because like
so then they can talk about it.
And they can
I'd rather have that. Yeah.
Me too. Ooh. I also bring back the reunions for All-Star seasons.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
The
that too.
one season we needed a reunion, All Stars 3, they said, nah. And I was like, no.
Yeah, they were,
You have those
they were like, we
bitches
don't want to
now.
talk about
Why
it.
they didn't put Shangela in the top there?
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah, like they sort of attempt to do it with, well, they're bringing them back so they have like some amount of interaction, but it's not like a proper reunion where you can sort of sit down and like go over all the topics. But
Yeah.
Mhm.
okay, so yeah, so look, that's kind of where we're at. That's what we have moving forward. I don't know, but we'll see. Let's get into this week's episode. So this was the final maxi challenge where the queens had to star in the music video Catwalk, and they had to write, record individual lyrics. They had to perform choreography, and then they also had to design a look that someone else was going to create for them, which I thought was kind of cool, I guess. Like you get to
Mhm.
design an outfit. You don't actually get to make it yourself though, which could be good or bad depending on who you are.
Yeah.
And then obviously, star and perform in the music video. So Beth, what were your overall thoughts of this week's maxi challenge?
I thought it was a great maxi challenge. I liked all the elements of it. I do like this whole design something for somebody, because a lot of what you're going to do after Drag Race is be able to work with designers maybe in a way you haven't before, or if you have maybe you have a more elevated because you're probably going to have higher booking fees and that kind of thing. So you might be working with different designers. So I actually think that this challenge was really, how do you effectively communicate your message to a designer to put together what they want, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we saw some queens who did it well and some queens who didn't do it as well, which we'll break down. But I like when people are able to create their own lyrics and have to follow the choreography. And I loved the twist that it was, cool, you just learned it. Let's film it right now. You don't have time to practice it. That was iconic. I loved that. It was like face crack. And I loved the face crack from all the queens being like, oh shit, I got to go do this now.
Yeah,
It was
that
similar
was
to
intense.
it was similar to like All Stars 3 when all of a sudden they were like, okay, we're going to do this in one take. Go. And they were like, oh, wow. Okay. So it's not like we film it in certain spots. We're just going around in one take. Great. Got to do everything properly. So this is a big challenge, but I think it was one that sets them up well, not only for the finale, but for post Drag Race career.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it was a tall order, design your dress, learn this choreography, write your lyrics, perform right now. Like, it was a lot of things happening at one time. I am very intrigued by the fact that they don't have to actually make the dress themselves. I think that, really frees them up to worry about the lyrics and worry about the performance, which I think is nice. And once again, like Beth said, it's like really like how much can you communicate what you have in your head to to the sketch, and then subsequently what ends up being made. And I feel like that's probably something that I would definitely thrive a lot better in, because I can't sew for shit. I probably will never learn how to sew. But I feel like I do have like a bit of an eye for fashion. I feel like the things that I could come up with in my head would probably be way better than anything that I could ever create. So the fact that I would have someone there to do it for me, just awesome. Now, obviously, how people execute your vision is always going to be a little bit different. So I'm sure that the queens, or probably some queens that were like, that's not really what I had in mind. But, there's not much that you can do, because, you only have a certain amount of time. But I did like that. And I hope that they continue to bring that back, especially since you're always ragging on the queens anyway for how hardly any of them can sew. It's like, all right, well then bitch, hire somebody for them then. Like, either get more queens that can sew or hire somebody to do it for them. So I really liked everything that went into this challenge. I felt like it was a really nice, conclusive, holistic approach to a challenge to sort of test them in all sorts of arenas of drag.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and we didn't even see all the elements. We didn't even see them record the lyrics. We really just saw the choreo, like just a little bit of writing the lyrics, designing the looks, and then the practice and the actual filming of it all. So clearly there was a lot going on in the couple days that they filmed the episode. So it did feel like there was no way that they were going to have time to do all of that. So it's kind of cool that they were able to outsource like pieces to still get the whole thing done and allow them to have that element of design there. This is a song that's grown on me, I think, because you two also very much like this song. So I was happy to see it. I felt like the one thing that kept me laughing, which maybe took me a little bit out of it, was like Rue behind the camera. Those
Yeah.
shots. I don't know why it just made
Rue
me laugh.
can't even lip sync to himself. Rue.
It was just really funny. So it's like I'm taking like the queens are like look so good and are doing such a good job. Cut to Rue just like in the background with the camera. That did take me out of it. But yeah, it was still really
Oh
fun.
gosh, it was funny. It was like, I actually think that's an editor thing. They very well could have matched up what he was lip syncing to the words a little better. It was like a half second off half the time, and I was like, "Oh no, editors, you done Rue dirty here."
Mhm.
Oh man.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, I
All
was
right.
very happy to see this be the centerpiece of the challenge because, as y'all know, I love this song. Ever since I heard it for the first time, I was like, "Oh yes, this is the groove, baby!" So, you know, had I had more time, I probably would have showed up to this podcast with a couple of my own lyrics. Maybe I'll do it for the finale podcast.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
such
there
a
we
good
go. I like
idea.
that. Yeah, write your own lyrics. All right, well, let's go through each of the individual queens because I want to talk about the performances. So first up was Bosco. What is it looking like, an intergalactic mom dropping her kids off at school or something like that? I tried to write down the quote
It
with
was
her look.
amazing, that quote.
Yeah. You know, it was she was still corseted, which like I get it because her lyric, I have the lyrics here. It was, you know, forgive me, Father, for I have sinned. I did show some skin. Like she talked about wanting to talk about the corset. I feel like she should have mentioned it if she was going to be corseted, but that's fine.
It would have been absolutely gaggy if she had been able to communicate and get this pulled off, that there was actually a reveal to a bikini underbottom thing. Like if this like, but none of the queens even knew that. So when she tried it on, they're like, oh man, this like, you know, Jetson kind of look here. And then like she just pulls it off and she's like in a bra and panty kind of thing. I would have actually found that iconic. As much as I ragged on her so much for having the same outfit 3 weeks in a row, like if your lyrics are going to be about I've sinned because I wore the same outfit 3 weeks in a row, and here it is a fourth time.
Yeah,
That would have been
Mhm.
actually freaking iconic.
Yeah, I agree. That would have been great. I did like the fact that she was like the only one that sang too. I mean,
Yeah.
Bob made a good point on the pit stop this week, saying like, look, even if you can't sing, they're going to auto tune your voice to high hell, so you might as well
Absolutely.
do what you can. So I did like that she was the only one that sort of like offered that bit of musicality to it. Well, rapping isn't bad. I mean, you know, we've had rap challenge after rap challenge after rap challenge. Like we've seen them a lot on the show. So I always like it when there's a bit more of like a musical element to it. So I did like that. And you know, her owning this sort of like, I don't know. I mean, maybe it's just like a messaging problem for me when it comes to Bosco, but I've never really like associated like the sinner, the evil, like devilish character that she likes to exude until like later in the competition when she said it. And so her sort of like trying to bring this like a full circle moment and really trying to come forth as like this devilish character. Like I'm starting to lean into it a bit more. So yeah, it was it's cool that she incorporated that into her lyrics.
I just wish that her outfit would have reflected that then. If she wants to be this evil character, you know, like this
don't look like a
Judy
Judy Jetson hooker.
Yeah, Judy Jetson hooker.
Yeah, I so the one thing with the singing is that you can fit in less lyrics, right? And I think that's why a lot of queens choose to rap, because you can say more when you do it that way. Because I'm just looking at the density of the lyrics and she has the least for sure, but that shouldn't take away from what she's doing, right? You know, it's just sort of a choice of what you want to do. If you want to fit in more lyrics, I think it's a quality over quantity thing though. So like it's better to have a solid performance than just to try to like squeeze more stuff in. But yeah, I thought it was good.
I also think that with singing, sometimes you can kind of get lost in the shuffle of the whole verse if you're the only one who sings. Like I think of Kennedy Davenport, her singing was fine. It was great. It was a great lyric for Kitty Girl. But because she opened up and Bosco also opened up, I always, when I listen to Kitty Girl, I go, when's Kennedy go? Oh, wait, she already went.
She already went
to it and I didn't even pay attention. Like there's something about speaking that makes you stand out a little bit more. And like when everybody's kind of talking like this and blah, 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 and whatever, and like you're like properly singing, it just fits in with the song well, which can be great, but then it also just takes away from your ability to stand out. So I think that's also what I had an issue with Bosco, because even though she had great lyrics and she opened it up, I got to the end of the song and went, when does Bosco go? Oh wait, she already sang. Like I literally did that again.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's tough also when you're the first one to go, because you're like sort of acclimating to the song, and so there's a little bit there, but yeah, I mean, you know, she kind of ended up in that middle slot, right, of sort of the third place finisher this week, and it seemed appropriate to me.
I agree.
All right, so next up is Angeria. So Angeria, the big, obviously she was struggling with the choreography and didn't really hit all of the moves that she was supposed to. She also missed the hint that Michelle gave in terms of the crawling.
The hint?
Yeah,
but the direct direction of crawl on the ground.
Get on the ground, bitch.
But like, if you're in a real, if you are actually directing someone, you just say it again.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I was like, that's stupid that she's being punished for something
100%.
that felt like so small. I mean, props to Daya Betty for then being like, bitch, I'm a crawl. And coming in and like picking that up. But I was just like, that seems like such a minor thing to get her on. Like, fine.
Yeah. It was for the edit.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure. Well, they needed two queens to be in the bottom that they could not send home. So, you know, they had to be somebody.
Well, that outfit alone should have sent her in the bottom anyway. Because I'm sorry, this is a whole ass mess.
Yeah, it's so weird.
It's just not. Sometimes, you know, and you know, this isn't the first time that I've like questioned Angeria's taste level. And I'm like, freaking Candy Muse's voice just like rings in my head all the time. I think like, but the taste level is not there. I just hear it. But yeah, like, and then when you look at like what her sketch looked like, and it looked like that, I was like, oh, like, yeah, I don't know if I like this look. I mean,
it's just weird. Like,
what's going on here? What are the dinner plates here?
Yeah. It's like sequins for the top, shoulder pads plus the leather for the sleeves, and then the neon for the bodysuit. Did she specify those fabrics? Because that's a weird combination.
Yeah.
I don't know. And it's so weird too, because like for me, Angeria has put a really pleasant twist on a lot of pageant like drag that I've really appreciated her takes on things. Like in her finale look, which I know we'll get to, her finale runway was just absolutely gorgeous. So the fact that like I know that she worked with designers on that, I don't understand what she was going for here. And if she wanted it, honestly, if she just made either the leather shoulder part match the bodysuit, or if the bodysuit had matched the other thing color wise, I probably wouldn't hate it as much as I do. But as soon as she came out for that rehearsal, which by the way, if you have to get in full drag in your new outfit for the rehearsal, that should be a hint that you're about to record it. I don't know. Like they were like, what? We got into full drag?
Oh my God, that's so funny. That's such a great point. Because when in any other situation have they rehearsed in full? Like sometimes they'll bring heels to practice in, but most of the time they're in their street clothes and tennies. Like, no, what?
Yeah.
Like, here you go. Get in your full outfits, try them on, get your drag on, and then we're going to just, we'll just rehearse. No. But anyway, I don't know. I also don't know if I like the sleek back hair with this, which I think that, bodysuits and long sleek hair is fine. But I think that if she had had something up that she could have like spun around like a big pony or something like that, that might have been better. I don't know.
I think it's the proportions. Like it just makes her head look tiny on those big shoulders. So like,
and them hips are beautiful, but
yeah, it just wasn't.
But them shoulders don't match them hips. No,
I wanted to read you on anything about how them shoulders don't match them hips, but they don't. So
I love Jay Jolie.
I thought her lyrics were good though. So, but
Mhm.
you actually have
Yeah.
to. Obviously, I didn't like get them immediately. It was once I re-listened and then like went back. So, unfortunately, that just doesn't stand out right away. But yeah, it's Angie bitch living out my dream. I was always taught to walk with grace, confidence, pose, and tons of grace. I've never been afraid to live out loud. I just want to make my daddy proud. At the end of the day, I'm always slay. Never let a bitch take my shine away. That's cute. It's cute.
Yeah.
I like
Yeah,
it.
it's
I
cute.
like it.
It's cute.
That's cute. That's
I
cute.
think that she was rightfully in the bottom this week. I think the
Mhm.
design was a little weird, not as up to par as some of the other girls. She was struggling with the choreography. She missed some of the marks. We'll disregard the Michelle thing, but yeah, I think that her critiques were pretty valid this time around.
Mhm.
Definitely.
Yeah. Okay, next up is Daya Betty, right? So Daya Betty, we mentioned this, took the hint to crawl on the floor. Good for her. So what'd y'all
Mhm.
think about Daya's performance?
Yeah, people loved it. People were living for it. I thought it was good too. I thought it was great. I think Daya looks. I feel like she's one of these queens. Like we've never really seen this before. She's one of the few that has been on borrowed time, right? Like you went home first, and now you made it all the way into the end. So you are always going to have this chip on your shoulder of I need to prove something. And I feel like now that she has gone as far as she can go, and she is this close to getting to the finale. I just feel like it really just unleashed something within her to just go for it, do what she needs to do. And a lot of people are living for it and they're eating it up because a lot of people consider Daya Betty to be the unabashed villain of the season. I don't know if I would go that far because she's really only been mad at just one person.
Amen.
So
Mm-hmm.
Aaron production, yes. So but yeah, I think she really sees the moment. I think that she did what she has to do. Her look is very classic, sleek, concise, to the point, succinct. You know exactly what you're looking at when you see her come out. I think the lyrics that she had were exemplative of that. They like, look, I'm here. I've always been a winner. I was waiting on y'all to see it. So yeah, I think that she had a solid week.
I think that, where she's won in the past in this competition have been these kind of performing challenges, where you're lip syncing and you have to get into character. And as soon as she heard you have to be essentially an entitled supermodel, she was like, I got that. I got it. And she was able to embody it. I mean, I think that she's been really interesting to watch in this competition. I had a really great conversation with a friend last night. We were at dinner and he like absolutely can't stand her. And I was just like, I just think that people are really harsh on her in terms of drag aesthetic and such. It drives me crazy that, I mean, this happens with Drag Race for a lot of people. This is their only exposure to drag. So this is what they think drag is. So that's why I found it so frustrating when RuPaul was like, well, you were just doing crystal method. I'm like, actually, that's a whole genre of drag. So to say that it's just one person that you're comparing it to, like that's not it. And I think that you can clearly see Daya is a very different person, both in and out of drag than crystal method. And I think that this challenge, we got to see the bite that she has, her competitive side, and we also got to see everything that she does really, really well, whether it's paint or whatever. Now, the one thing I have to say now that I'm looking at this photo is that her face is very white in comparison to the rest of her body. And that probably has to do with the lights that are specifically on her for this kind of challenge. But it's at the end of the day, if that's the one thing I have to point out of her performance, her lyrics, her outfit, everything, then I think she slayed it. I think that in my opinion, she was the second best. I personally liked Camden a little bit better, but in terms of her lyrics and everything, but Daya's a performer. She's good stuff.
She's like 1,000,000 feet tall, which helps with the runway-ness. She can just stomp the shit out of that runway, like, and it shows. I thought I I thought it was really funny when Bosco said that, Daya's made it through this competition with talent and a pure hatred for Jasmine.
Mhm.
Because it was like that emotion that came across on the runway, that this like frustrated, almost anger, like stomping that she showed in the lip sync last week and she showed on the runway this week. So it's like maybe they are all tied together somehow. Like the anger is motivating in a type of way that just comes through in her performances, which makes it really strong for, specific applications, including this challenge. Yeah, I thought it was fun. I thought it was good. I thought it was cute. Let's see. I'm trying to look at her lyrics if there's anything that like particularly stands out to me. Yeah. So you better be ready, which is kind of cute. Better be ready because I've always been a winner. That kind of stuff. Kind of touched on that already. But I like the idea, I like the categorization of her being in the second place slot here.
I just was curious and I was like, I wonder what her star sign is. Apparently she's a Pisces. And I thought for sure she'd be a fire sign. I was like, there's no way. She's got to be like a Taurus or a fire sign. But the fact that she's a Pisces, now I'm sitting back and I'm like, actually,
it's the persecution complex of it all. The whole world against me.
100%. It's so good.
Oh man. All right, let's talk about Lady Camden here. She, of course, I was waiting for it. It's on my Drag Race bingo card, the spelling out of something in your verse, the L to the A to the D to the Y. Yes.
Mhm.
Give me that bingo slot.
Oh,
but she's such a performer. She just radiates on the stage. It's really just a joy to watch her.
It really is. I really enjoyed her the most. Like when I think about these songs where the queens have to write their own lyrics and perform something, it's very rare that somebody actually really sticks out for great lyrics. Normally you're like, the sum was okay and I'll listen to it. And like, but I really feel like the way that she performed her voice in doing the lyrics was very Lady Camden, like the kind of singing kind of thing that make you come on in with this almost quite wispy voice, like that kind of thing. Like that instantly is going to make me go, ooh, I got to pay attention. What are you saying with that voice? And the fact that she could translate that, we already saw it with the Moulin Rouge challenge. Like she can embody that voice so well. So when she performed, like to me, it just was so synergistic, everything together, that even despite the fact she spelled out lady for us all in a very stereotypical fashion, I thought she really killed it.
Yeah, I think she won this like the moment like she's like on the ground and like gets to that part where she's like twist, turn, levitate, act, pose, captivate. I was just like, all right, you won. Like like you are just giving me, I mean, the look was very like supermodel / pop star type deal. It was just, she came in with a vision and I just think that she executed it to a T. It was just, I think she had, and ironically, she had the shortest bit. And I think that really helped because it just was, she just gave it to you in one quick go and she was up and out. And I think that it just really served her well. Yeah, I love the spelling, the L to the A to the D to the Y, baby.
Yeah, spell. Let's do this. Come on, spelling bee. A side note, but for Lady Camden, I saw someone that said that anytime Lady Camden has won a challenge, no one has gone home. So like maybe we should have known when she was announced as the winner.
That's actually a really good point.
So
all right,
that means that if she were to win Drag Race, that it's going to be a tie.
5-way tie. That's what we're going for. All right, let's talk about our last performer, Willow Pill. I actually liked some of Willow Pill's lyrics the best overall, but absolutely there was that disconnect between her face and some of the performance. Like it did kind of feel, who's it? Was it one of the judges that said you could see her counting?
Yeah.
So I thought that was definitely true. But the line of cute, absurd, and a touch of ugly, I celebrate life. Let's pour the bubbly. I loved that.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. Okay. I can get behind that.
I think that she had the most unique design with the fact she had a profile of her face, which I didn't know until Michelle brought it up, which was very clear that they were like, and now let's make a moment to point this out, because I don't think anybody would look at that knowing that's a profile. So they brought it up a few times. But the moment that they did, I was like, that's actually so cool. Like, those little details are the things that she's just so good at, that the unexpected little details. I don't know. I'm really hoping that if there's some kind of lip sync smackdown, like, she did really well when she had the song that was her choice. But even in this song where she wrote her own lyrics, that disconnect that Georges kind of suffers from sometimes too, where like her face betrays her body, is what her undoing was in this competition. That, and we'll get into her finale look as well. But I think there's some smart aspects about it, but I didn't like it. So, I don't know. I just feel like in this, I think she deserved to be in the bottom based off of her performance. But if she had done well with the performing of the lyrics, I think that Bosco should have then been in the bottom over her. But
right. Yeah. Like, it was the performance element that really let her down, I think.
And I think the runway too. I think that people were sort of captivated by it, but they were also sort of like confused. And I feel like in the last week, in your last showing to the judges, I feel like people just want to just see something. They want to get it. They just want to get it. And you run a risk, because Daya Betty also ran a risk of doing her singed burnt runway look. But I guess that one sort of just registered with the judges for whatever reason, more so than the Minnie Mouse hooker look did for Willow Pill. And that in combination with just how her face does not always translate to the dancing, because she's not a dancer. So
but also, when you're going to put all of that kind of makeup on, it really doesn't help your ability to emote in a song, right? Yeah. And so that's not for the performance, but for the telephone lip sync.
But we did get to ultimately see that this is like the reason why RuPaul loves Willow Pill so much, is because he considers her to be in the same camp of him, of like just like understanding that life should not be taken seriously, that everything really is just a game, and that we should just have fun as much as possible. And Willow has had to do that because of her cystinosis, which has really put her in that position to have that sort of outlook on life, and that's just very attractive to Ru. So we have to see all of that come forward in this episode.
Yeah, we can talk more about the Tic Tac lunches, but when Ru was like, "You're part of my tribe," then that was one of those ones. Oh yeah, okay. So when you just feel this association with another person, you just like, you feel like you get it, they get it, you guys are on the same page. There's not a whole lot that can really trump that type of connection.
Right. Yeah. She can do no wrong.
Exactly. So when Angeria, when he's like, "Chante, you stay," I was like, "There's no way he's sending home Willow after he just said that. No way."
Let's get into the runway looks, because we've been mentioning these. So first, I love that this has been all over the internet, but Ru coming out in a better version of the dress that Maddie Morphosis got eliminated in. You'll love to see it. What are the runway looks that stood out to y'all? Obviously, there's a lot of discussion about Willow's, with the whole like, she said she was a rat, but she's actually a mouse, maybe.
I mean, I thought that it was fine. I mean, it's definitely not it's something that you would expect from Willow Pill. Just aesthetically, it wasn't my shtick. I just wasn't for me.
And this was You're a Winner Baby was the drag category, which is essentially best drag. So this is what she chose to really represent her, which I get it. Like, it's quirky. I'm trying to pull it up now so we can all take a look. It just, did it feel, I don't know. It just felt like there was something missing. Beth, you said that it wasn't your favorite either.
No, and here's the reason why. It came across as baby doll drag to me, but like literally, like, I'm going to be a child's toy, and which is fine. Like, if that's your aesthetic and everything, that's great. But there's just something about it to me that just didn't seem like best drag. I don't know. And maybe this is just me not being able to get out of my own box of what I think whatever drag should be. And that's, you know, a valid critique of what I'm saying. But there's just some, I'm just going to be honest. I've always had an irrational fear of the Rat King from the Nutcracker, and I think this was just too on the nose
on
for
those
me.
fears.
Yeah, you know, like clowns and the Rat King are the things that have scared me the most, and there was just aspects of. No, I will say this: if it wasn't for the mouse portion up to, I actually, now that I'm looking at this is not what I remembered it being. Like I thought this was like a pale pink kind of like ribbon dress kind of situation, and it's so not that, which tells me like the mouse thing really threw me off of what she was really wearing. If you took that off, this is absolutely stunning, to be perfectly honest with you. So I don't know, I'm not mad at the look now that I'm looking at it again, but it really did warp what I think she was wearing.
I don't know. There's something about that top piece that doesn't fit well. The like bandeau thing that got like kind of comes across.
Looks a little low.
It looks low. It looks like kind of weirdly offset. I don't know. Maybe it's just the angle that we're looking at it in. I don't know. That's kind of cool. It just like it's that piece that kind of fits weird for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Her face is gray too.
I just feel like it's just like I feel like it's something about it just seems a little half baked to me. I don't know.
I think personally, if I had to pick my favorite look from the week, it was Lady Camden's, and it kind of wasn't close. I mean, Angeria I thought looked really great as well, but oh my gosh, I mean, Lady Camden just looks stunning. That being said, like, I love this type of glamour. So it's like it's my aesthetic as well. So that's probably why I'm biased towards it. But just oh my gosh.
It just but if it looks good, it looks good. Like I mean, there's just no denying it. It's just breathtaking. And the way that she presented it was also just everything you want.
Oh, the bust line silhouette with leaving the neck open with no necklace is such a smart choice. Because
when you have those earrings.
Well, yeah, obviously it will weigh you down. And what did she say? Like the headpiece was made by her mother, which I thought was really
so beautiful.
So just so beautiful. I'm obsessed with this.
This is like, honestly, if people wanted to do real life, what would certain queens look like? This is what I think Elsa would look like. This kind of like in real life, day to day, kind of, well, not day to day, maybe, but like this is what I kind of have that vision of somebody who's just like, obviously there's a lot of effort here, but it also looks effortlessly glamorous at the same time. I thought this was absolutely gorgeous, and I love the like back train on top of the other train, like the layered kind of train aspect. It was just, everything was just really, really cool. A different take on things that I've seen before.
All right. Any other looks that we for sure want to discuss?
I just want to look at Angeria's again.
What did you think of Daya Betty's, like the burn angle of it all? Oh, yeah. And the weird bustle thing.
I liked what she went for. I just didn't think that it was that well done. You know, like as far as I'm concerned, her and Willow were sort of just misses for me. Because yeah, I feel like it just looks a little bit too bunched up, and it makes it look like the burning isn't as intentional as it should look. It kind of just looks like a burned dress, and that's it.
Okay.
So
I'm so happy that you mentioned that, because I almost felt like she's got two very dramatic things that she's going for, which is the like side bustle and then the burn on top of that. I almost kind of feel like you pick one or the other, because both of them together.
Yeah, it just looks,
maybe I'm too stupid. They confuse me. I was like, well, why is she burned? Why is it on the side? It's cool, but I don't know. I'm too stupid. I don't get it.
They were all so intrigued by it too. They were all like, yeah, just like the burning was just so, I was just so exciting. I was like, guys, no. Like, I think
this is a pure example. I just want to put this out there that when you did well in everything else, they have to say nice things about you. And if you failed in one aspect of that, then they're going to find fault in something, right? That's
Yeah.
it.
like,
But with the burning thing, I wish if she had just stuck with the burn theme.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a way that you can make it really glamorous looking, that she is either the smoke coming out of it, like out of the dress, or like she's painted and has construction in a way that she's like flame and smoke. I think there's
drag it
things that
out.
she drag that out. That was such like an interesting concept, but there was no execution on that. And to your exact point, Liana, having that side bustle thing was really distracting. So I just kind of felt like, stick with one thing. And if it's the burn theme, first of all, that dress would not just be burned in those little separate hole places. The whole thing would have been up in smoke. So like it would have been so cool if there was like a little thing that popped up to be like the smoke or the flames at the very end, like one of those like big like what am I trying to say? Like the constructed collar things that like kind of pop up or something. Like I think there could have been something there that would have been really glamorous. The way that she paints, you can't tell me that she couldn't come up with something that would have been really iconic. Like I'm talking like Detox, like in black and white kind of iconic thing. And I really think that she's the queen that could have done it. So I was really disappointed with the look altogether, because I think that she could have taken that and ran with it.
And to her credit, there was a section of the dress that did have like, I think maybe it was like the bra plate. I forget. There was a part that I think it was Carson that did point out there was like sort of like an embroidering around like the singe marks that made it look, that was, basically what we're saying, like drag it out. Like, if you're going to burn the dress, then at least like jewel it up or make it look like it's intentional, as opposed to just, oh, I'm coming out in a burned dress because it's edgy. You know what I mean? So there was bits and pieces of it that had that, but it wasn't enough. We needed more.
Yeah. All right. Well, here is Angeria's look for Beth. Here you go. The mermaid cut.
So beautiful. It's just so beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
She presents it well. I mean, she's a pageant girl. She knows how to work in this type of dress.
It's just everything in that gown. She just looks like $1,000,000. It's absolutely gorgeous. I really liked Camden's. I really liked hers. There's such a different style that I can't tell you which one I prefer over the other for me personally. That looked gorgeous.
All right, since we're there's one queen left, let's just quickly talk about Bosco's look. At first, when she walked out, I was like, why is that blue thing tied around her waist like a sweater? You know, when you have a sweater and you like tie it around your waist? That was like my first thought. And then it grew on me, and then I was like, saw Lady Camden's, and I forgot about this one. But it's still really gorgeous. Kind of fits her weird on top, but it
doesn't look like it's zipped on the top.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, exactly. It looks like it wasn't completely zipped up. I don't know. Maybe, whatever. I mean, look, she looks absolutely gorgeous. We've seen this wig a few times though. So
her face, I mean, she paints, I love the way she paints anyway. This is like classic Hollywood movie star with the Bosco brow. Like, it's real. Like, I don't know why it's so different, or is maybe it's just things are smaller. Like she did smaller under eye, a smaller nose contour, smaller lips or something. But there's just something that's just so classically like Marilyn Monroe about this. That's really beautiful. But I'm going to be honest. I like the concept. I hate the execution of everything else. Neck up, great. Neck down.
The hair also gives very much Marilyn. So it could be a combination of those two things.
Yeah, that's what I was getting, Marilyn. Yeah.
All right. So we talked about the runways. We talked about the challenge. We talked about the fact that both are moving on to the finale. We have a finale of 5 people. How fun. Other major things that we had this episode, we had the Tic Tac chit chat, Tic Tac lunch, which it was so funny to finally see them talk about Daya Betty and her diabetes, because it just like felt like we had just sort of glossed over that. We had talked a lot about Willow's, but not about hers. So that was kind of cool to hear her talk about that.
And I also think that's a really important thing. A lot of people who don't know those, especially who have type 1 diabetes in their lives, like a lot of your day revolves on, and your energy revolves on your condition. And so I think it's really interesting that we've lasted 14 episodes without this being any part of her story on the show. Like, was there a day where maybe some of the anger she had towards Jasmine was because she was just fatigued or whatever, you know? And I don't think that she's the type of person to make that as an excuse or anything. And I don't think that it is. I think it's a context thing. But I really think that it was just really interesting to hear about that. We hear about diabetes in terms of like, oh yeah, you don't want to get diabetes, like type 2 diabetes, but we aren't ever told about like the day to day, what it's like to have diabetes.
Just
And
be
so
born
just
with
having
it,
a
yeah.
glimpse of that was really, I think, important.
What else? Oh, Lady Camden, her story about her brother committing suicide. Did we know this?
I didn't.
Okay, I was
don't think so,
crying.
no.
It was really hard to hear, and talking about essentially this feeling of like wanting to run away because it was such a dark place. I mean, oh my gosh, my heart goes out to her. It was very emotional, and I think I mean, I feel like I learned more about her in this, 2 or 3 minute Tic Tac chit chat interview than I felt like I did throughout the season.
And that's the thing. That's what I feel like these should be. I think this was some of the best Tic Tac conversations, or what's the tea podcast kind of conversations. Oftentimes we're limited to the same story that we've heard throughout the entirety of the season. So it was really refreshing to learn about some of the things that we as an audience can now kind of reflect back and go, oh, wow, I wonder what this moment must have been like for them as they did this, or they heard the queens talk about that or whatever. I think that's a really interesting concept. I have to say, the conversation that they had with Rue and Michelle, and then I wept at every single one of the what would you tell your younger self things.
Same.
I normally don't. I normally am like, or sometimes I might even do a small little eye roll, and I'm guilty of that. This time, I don't care. All 5 of them, I was going, I was crying. It was dramatic.
The person that I was with was sort of like on the eye roll thing. He felt that it was like so scripted. It was just like, I'm so tired of this. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, in a way, yes, it is scripted because it's in the script for this to happen. But I don't think that anything that those queens are saying to the younger selves is, I think that's all coming from the heart, And I don't think that's something that a lot of us really think about doing. I don't think sometimes I don't even know. I mean, I've watched this happen at least like 4 times on Drag Race, and I don't even know what I would say to my younger self at this point. So it's always nice for those moments of like reflection and getting yourself like outside of the competition of it all, and just reminding everybody of like why some of these people even get into drag, why they even are the way that they are now, and what kind of wisdom would you impart on somebody else that's younger than you, specifically you. So yeah, it's I think it's always a really nice moment to see that. It's just like, at that point, it's like, I know at this point, no one's going to go home though, because you're not going to do this. And it's somebody home. So
I too always weep for these. I like want to be like the cynic. Whatever, emotions don't affect me. I'm like, that's so sad. This is so
I was so hormonal when I was watching that too, and I was like, no. I felt it on such a visceral level. There was also like, I was thinking to myself, like, I mean, this just shows like how lucky and privileged I have been. But I was like, I don't even know what I would say to myself. I'd be like, well, there's gonna be an elephant at your I don't know. I like at the zoo that you're gonna really like, and then like 10 years later you're gonna hear it died. Like, oh wow, that was really sad kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't know what I would say. I've had very, very privileged life for the most part. And so like hearing people who are so vulnerable and talking about these things that have affected the way that they view themselves and they have lived out life and they've viewed the world, like, that's powerful.
Okay. Is there anything else from this episode that we want to talk about before we wrap up? Thoughts?
Don't think so. I
Okay.
look at the main last little bit. I would just say look, once again, we don't need this many non-elimination episodes, and I know that everyone is there's so many people that are fine with what happened, and we're supposed to be fine with what happened because we're supposed we've been edited to want all of these queens to get to the end. But at the end of the day, it is a competition. Somebody's got to go home. And I feel like it's much more of an emotional moment when somebody that you do goes home because they effed up in a challenge. It is okay. They're going to be fine. Send them home. There's only one person that can win anyway. So send these bitches home.
Unless it's all Star Sport.
Unless it's all Star Sport. It looks there's room for everybody.
I'm so with you though, Aman. And I know that we've had some people comment on, our podcast and such, being like, for people who supposedly love the show, you guys complain a lot about having extra episodes or those kind of things. And it's not that, I mean, we are complaining, but it's because we love the show that we're talking about the things that could just only make it better as it goes to improve. If we didn't love the show, we wouldn't be covering it.
No, exactly.
We're coming back every single week. We have so much love for the queens, and I know I'm super, super critical of RuPaul, and I think anybody who has any kind of huge platform and that kind of thing, and has sometimes a cult love around them should be looked at with a discerning eye. But I am thankful that we have a show that uplifts and puts LGBTQ artists in the spotlight. And so I'm just always thankful that we have this podcast where we can come together and talk about the things that frustrate us, but also have a good time and just celebrate people being amazing artists and being queer, because that's the most important thing at the end of the day.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Look, it's still all fun. I like watching it. I get excited every week. I'm still here for it all. So
I get to talk about this and then go about the rest of my week and then go, oh, it's Drag Race time. And then I get to talk about it again and then go on with the rest of my week. That's, if people are upset with our thoughts and such, that's understandable. But
well, if you're upset with us, you can reach out to us on Twitter, right? That's where we're at. Again, as a reminder, we will not be recording a podcast next week. What we're going to do is we're going to release both the reunion and the finale coverage together after the finale airs. So that will be 2 weeks from now. You can look out for us then. So, Aman, where can people find you on social media, and what do you have going on?
You can follow me at Aman Adwin everywhere on social media. The choir room is now in effect on a long break. So if you have not been able to keep up, any Glee fans out there, now you have 250 episodes of endless content of me and Matt discussing all things Glee with a few familiar faces along the way. And as always, over at RHAP as well, helping to cover Big Brother Canada 10. And that's it for now.
All right. And Beth, what about you?
You can still find me on My Weekly Meltdown, and you can also catch me on Hot Mess Moments, although we are on a very short hiatus, but one for effectively the next couple of weeks, as we just have a very busy month ahead of us.
All right. You can find me on Twitter at Liana RHAP, podcasting about The Masked Singer. We just recorded the RHAP B&B with Peridium, which was really fun, to go over everything. Learned a lot about Peridium, some discussion of him eating cat food, mashed potatoes, all very interesting, weird, totally weird.
Together?
No, but I don't want to spoil the podcast.
Okay.
We
I'll
talked
tune
about
in.
him eating cat. Anyway, whatever. It was lovely. So much fun. And if you want to help support us here on the RuPaul's Drag Race podcast, you can leave your star ratings and reviews on iTunes. That's robhasawebsite.com/drag race. That does it for us. So thank you to Scott St. Pierre for all your help behind the scenes, and we'll talk to y'all in 2 weeks. All right. Bye.